He actually got my whole big toe in his mouth, and his teeth made it through the fucking shit.
Hey guys. Well, I had a really bad week. I'll recap some of the past events. So Friday, I had some really, really bad pain, and my fertility clinic is really slow at responding to me usually, because I have to leave a message. So because I am used to that, I just went ahead and called my own OBGYN, and they felt kind of uncomfortable about stepping in and doing an ultrasound, even though I was requesting it and offering to pay. Also, my insurance would cover them, but they did not cover the fertility doctor. So I ended up calling the IVF clinic and managed to get a call back, and I had 30 minutes to get 25 minutes to their location, which was great. I'm glad they could get me in quickly. So they got me there. I ended up having to wait a half hour anyway. Then we went in for the ultrasound. Their findings on the ultrasound weren't very promising. The pregnancy that's in my uterus does not look normal. You can see a fetal pole, no heartbeat. Couldn't really see yolk sac. It just didn't look normal at all. And we were like, well, maybe it's early. So they went ahead and did a beta on me and sent me home. My beta came back 407, which isn't so bad. And then Saturday comes along and the pain's better, but it's still there. It was much better. And then Sunday, no pain at all. I was doing really good. Then Monday, my husband forgot to take the trash down, and I don't sleep very well anyway, so I figure I'd get up and take the trash down. And we have a pretty long driveway. I came back, and about 10 minutes after I came back, I started having severe pain, located on my left side, which is like, kind of uterus tube, ovary area. And I tried to tough it out like I always do. I just figure, it's cramping. I'm probably going to lose the pregnancy. And the pain just kept getting worse and worse. And it got to the point where it was almost unbearable. I called my clinic. I left a message for them to call me back. Somebody from their clinic actually called because they wanted to collect payment from me for the ultrasound that I had on Friday. Which is fine and everything, but while I was on the phone with her, she asked me how I was doing, and I said I was in a very high amount of pain. So she said, well, let me get a nurse on the phone with you right away. So she did, and the nurse said, well, we're not going to be able to squeeze you in today. You can either keep your appointment for tomorrow, or you can go to the ER if you think you need to. I said, well, it looks like I'm going to the ER. I said, this can't wait. So something's not right. I've never been in this much pain in my life, and it had pretty much started really low in my abdomen, and it actually worked all the way up to my rib cage. It hurt to breathe. It hurt to move. I could not get comfortable, and I just knew that something was greatly wrong. So I figured I'd go to the bathroom and I would jump in my truck and go to the hospital. My husband called me before I left and asked me how I was feeling, and I told him. And he said, well, his most recent job was canceled and he is going to be on his way home, and if I could wait 30 minutes, he would take me. So I waited. He actually was here in 25 minutes, and he took me straight to the emergency room. We got to the emergency room. They had the emergency entrance all taped off. So we thought we were going to have to go through the front door. And I am so lightheaded at this point, but also in so much pain. Somebody from the emergency room actually came out a different door and said, hey, are you trying to get in the emergency room? Yes, we are. So they let us in. We went through registration, did my vitals. I told them what was going on. I told them that there was a possible ectopic pregnancy. Although rare, it was still a possibility. That was per the doctor on Saturday, who told me my HCG beta was 470. I was having a little bit of bleeding, but not much. Then they got me back to a room. They made my husband stay out in the waiting room. They promised as soon as they got me prepped and ready in my room that they would let him come back. They did not let him go back at that point. And then they told me, well, after your ultrasound, he can come back. Well, they did my ultrasound. They still didn't let him come back. At this point, I am crying hysterically. Like, it hurts so much to cry. It hurt to breathe in. I couldn't get in any position to make the pain any better. I was begging them for something for pain. They told me that they could give me morphine, but then the nurse left and I didn't see her again for another 30 minutes.
Hey guys, I asked for pain management because it looks like I'm losing the pregnancy and it hurts. I don't know if something else is going on. They weren't telling me anything, but I'm hurting so bad. And I asked for medication, and they haven't brought me anything, and I've been here by myself.
I'm asking, when is my husband going to be able to come back? They said, well, we're waiting on your blood work to come back, and then he can come in. Well, so they gave me a shot of morphine as about the time my husband came in. And they told me my beta HCG was a 949, if I remember right. And I'm like, wow, that's a really good number. That I was just amazed at that number. It made me feel a little more confident that the pregnancy was still progressing and maybe it wasn't Tubal. Well then, all this time's going by. They give me another shot of morphine. It's getting a little bit better. We had been there for almost 5 hours at this point. I still had not seen a doctor. And one of the nurses came in and said, the doctor said he'll see you in the morning. He won't be able to see you tonight. I'm like, what? Like, no. I said, I need to see a doctor now. Like, if I can't see the doctor in the next 30 minutes, we're leaving. Well, my parents actually got a hold of a family friend who is an OBGYN who would have been taking over my prenatal care later in my pregnancy. And he said I needed to leave that hospital and go to Jasper Memorial and get proper treatment. So we did. When we told them that we were leaving, then they seemed like they wanted to care. Then they wanted to start working. They're like, oh, well, we can get the doctor down here soon. Well, that ain't what y'all were telling me before. We're leaving here. I even looked at the nurse and I told her, I said, if I stay here, I'm going to die. I know I'm going to die. So we left. We drove an hour and a half. And yes, I was scared that I was still going to die from blood loss on the way there. On the discharge papers, we see that they put down ectopic pregnancy, but nobody ever mentioned that to us while we were there. They did put down that I had a large amount of fluid in my abdominal cavity, but that the person who wrote that up also said that it didn't look like it was blood. It just looked like fluid. Now, I'm in a severe amount of pain, and there's a large amount of fluid in my abdomen. I don't think it's just going to be fluid. Anyway, fluid is still linked to ectopic pregnancy, so I thought it was just absurd that they were treating me the way they were. So when we got to Jasper Memorial Hospital, We got in. They knew I transferred. I still had all my bands on from the other hospital. We explained to them what's going on. They got me back, did my vitals immediately. Then they rolled me back to my room. As soon as I got in my room, I saw a doctor and a nurse already waiting for me. Talk about VIP care. That was amazing. And if you really want help, Jasper's good for that. Don't ever, if anybody is in Floyd County in Indiana, do not go to Baptist Health. They will just let you die. And I know that from experience. So they did my vitals. They got me back for an ultrasound immediately. So it was around 9 o'clock when we finally got to Jasper Memorial Hospital. I was already being prepped. The operating room was already on their way. And I think we were actually wheeling out of the room at 11:36. So they worked incredibly fast. The doctor was able to confirm her suspicion just by looking at blood work that it was an ectopic pregnancy that ruptured. She got me back in the operating room. Knowing that there was still a pregnancy in my uterus, she was being very careful during the surgery not to injure that pregnancy, even though to her the pregnancy didn't look like it was viable. They were not able to find a cardioactivity on that fetus. So she did get in there, and she was able to confirm that my left tube did have pregnancy in it. One of the babies managed to make it in there and start growing, and the tube ruptured. And I had lost between what she'd found in my abdomen, which was 700 cc's of blood in my abdomen, and what I had bled out. That was approximately 1/5 of my blood volume that I had lost. And she said if I had waited until the next morning, like Baptist Hospital wanted me to do, I would have died. I had lost so much blood. My body could only lose about another 1,000 cc's of blood before I would not have been able to come back. That would have been it for me. So it's very scary. Always follow your instincts. I knew then. I just knew there was something wrong, and I knew if I stayed in that hospital I was going to die. So always trust yourself. You know your body. You ladies know your body, and if you believe something's wrong, then something probably really is wrong. But I've never had so much pain in my life. At one point, the pain was way up here, and then I'd get the shooting pain up here. I was holding myself like this, trying to get the pain to stop. Just nothing was working, and it was miserable. But she was able to remove the tube with the baby still in it and send it off to pathology to confirm that the whole thing was there. It was just really, really sad because the one viable pregnancy I had just happened to be in my tube. Because we're 99% sure the one in my uterus isn't developing normally, and it's just a matter of time when I'll actually pass it. Now, my HCG levels have gone down, but I also know that could be a result of the donor blood. So we are going to be repeating my HCG counts. They wanted me to do it once a week, but I opted to do it 48 hours after my last one, which was yesterday. I still haven't got the results back on that. But if my HCG count has gone up between yesterday's beta and tomorrow's beta, then I will feel more confident that this little one is still growing in me. I'm really kind of scared because I don't think it's making it. I really don't. It was 6 weeks and 2 days when I went in. They were estimating the pregnancy to be 7 weeks and 1 day. So that was kind of interesting since it's showing larger than it should. I would think at this point we'd be able to see a heartbeat. I am still having bleeding, but I don't know if it's because of pregnancy loss that's in my uterus or if it's leftover blood from the surgery. I would think at this point, it's been a couple of days, I would think that it would be brown by now. But I'm still trying to hold on to hope. And yeah, after I got out of the operating room and I woke up, I saw these. These are perfect thumb marks. So somebody grabbed a hold of me to move me probably back to the bed to take me back to my room. And I typically bruise easy anyway, and imagine with a lack of blood, that all this I just went through, my body is definitely not focusing on the rest of my body. It's focusing on, you know, my womb and all that. So then I was given a nice bundle of pills to take. I've got 4 different things, which the only thing I am actually taking, they gave me something for pain, which I don't need. And I think that's, it's not that one. It's this one. Oxycodone for pain. Then I was given an antibiotic, which I'm taking, pretty honestly. And ibuprofen, which I don't need it at all. Then I've got Colace, because apparently when you're given morphine and anesthesia on top of that, well, you get constipated. And I definitely needed the Colace. I am pretty shattered about this whole thing. I don't know what they do in pathology, if they test the embryo or not. I'm kind of curious whether it was a boy or a girl, but I probably never know. But I will always wonder. I'm really hoping that I get some good news about my HCG levels tomorrow. I'm really hopeful. Got my fingers crossed on that. And I guess if it doesn't go well, I have to skip a whole cycle and then go and try again. My chances are already slim for getting pregnant, and definitely slim naturally anyway, and it's definitely going to be even harder now that I only have 1 tube, if I ever wanted to try naturally. I don't know if the fertility clinic is going to do anything to right this, because on Friday when I went in, they really should have caught that ectopic pregnancy. I do some of my own ultrasounds at home. I was able to see what looked like a pregnancy, not in the uterus. And that was what was alarming to me. And that was one of the biggest reasons why I was suspicious and wanted my own OBGYN to do an ultrasound that day. And like I said, I can understand where they're coming from. I know doctors want to be honorable and not step on another doctor's toes. But when it comes to something like this and somebody's life is literally on the line, I really feel like they should just be able to step in. And I really think that this fertility clinic owes me for this ordeal, because it should have been caught, and I almost died. Like, I literally keep thinking about how I was so close to death and my family would have been left without me. It is like one of the hardest things to live with. Like, you know, just being close to death like that. How could you not catch an ectopic pregnancy? How can you not catch it if it's large enough to rupture your tube? If I could have seen it on my own ultrasound, why couldn't they see it? I don't get it. This could have all been avoided. And I'm going to tell you guys, I'm so glad to still be alive. I'm really happy that I'm still here. I don't know what I'd have done or what my family would have done. You know, the whole thought is very scary. I would never want to leave my family behind. Well, I guess we'll find out soon. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later.